Okay, it's August 3rd, 2017, here at 12th Avenue again. The new people that just moved in have complained about bugs. Now, I've treated upstairs and downstairs. Upstairs we have nothing, so it seems to be that they either brought in the bugs or they're not cleaning and not taking care of it, because before they moved in there were no bugs down there. So this is what we have here. It's the day after garbage day, and as you can see, everybody else's garbage cans are picked up except the tenants downstairs. Now, is that intentional or is that just an accident? She apparently doesn't work. He just got a new job with the state, and I'm guessing we all know what that's about. So the people next door here, I believe that is the brother of the former public works director for the city of Rockford. They have the same last name. There's less than 20 in the town, and they look exactly alike. So now they're selling their house because the sabotage here didn't work as well as they'd planned. As I say, I believe that the local cartel was going to burn down the house, was going to burn down this place, and try to frame me for it. So right now I've got a vacancy upstairs, and look what else they do here. This showed up here this week. Dirt and crap dumped all over my yard. Dumped over here too, so I don't know if it's the neighbor here that did it. Dumped over there too, see that? So who does this? I don't know. Now yesterday when I was here, there was a post. There was a metal post, a metal, one of those for like a fence, was laying up against the tree here. That's gone. So somebody's meddling with this place. And over here, somebody threw all these rocks. See all these rocks here that get caught in your lawnmower and dull the blade? So somebody brought in all kinds of rocks, and they dumped a bunch of dirt here. Now what that is all about is only the sabotage that I've been enduring here. And one more thing. Look at these sidewalks. You see how they're coming apart in the middle there? I'll tell you what causes that. That's when the person that puts down that sidewalk mounds it in the middle. So you have 4 inches on each side on the frame of the sidewalk that you're trying to pour. Usually it would be 4 inches by whatever the width of the sidewalk is, and you pour it 4 inches deep all the way around. Well, what's happened here, obviously, and I've seen this done when they pour them, they mound them. So in the middle you may have an inch, and that's what's happened here, is you have an inch in the middle here where they've mounded it, and they save on cement costs. See, all these sidewalks are that way. Now when I got cited a year and a half ago, this was one of the things I was cited for, that these sidewalks are crumbling. And the cause of this sidewalk crumbling is the city of Rockford inspector that didn't inspect the pouring of this sidewalk properly. And how do I know that? Because I had new sidewalks poured at one of my places, and we had to fight with the contractor because he was not going to do the right thing. And the city of Rockford the building department inspector was there for the sidewalks. He would not force the contractor to fix those. I came out with a camera, took pictures. I've got pictures of the whole thing, and in the parts where they mounded it, it's all crumbling right now on those sidewalks they put in 25 years ago. So this is the same thing we've got going here. Again, I was sold this building, I believe, because of the deficits that were intrinsic, and everything's been fixed except this sidewalk. And as I say, these people next door here have been what you might say is a lookout. That when somebody comes over here to break windows and whatnot, they're not going to say anything, see? Because if they're on the inside and they're having some kind of compensation for sabotaging me, making sure that nobody is held responsible for the damage of my properties. I believe that's what they're there for. And now that they've failed in their commission of the sins they were going to commit against me, when many sins that were committed against me, and these people stood by, I believe, and watched them do it. They stole my ladder. They broke 3 windows after this woman confronted me next door, the neighbor and the tenant that was living down here. They came over here and they stood right here, and they told me that they were going to call the building department if I didn't tear down the garage back here. Well, here's the garage. Well, since I knew who the tenant was, and when she filled out her application, she filled out that she had worked at the same place that the new sheriff had worked. So I put that together right away when she moved in. Her boyfriend cut down 2 trees back here and stacked them on the inside of the garage wall to make it collapse. And then they came over here and confronted me one day. The woman here next door and the tenant that was living over here, they came out with a camera, a cell phone camera, and were videotaping me. And at the time, the tenant upstairs had just moved out, and they had an aquarium upstairs where the water would drip evenly across this porch here. And it was all rotted, and the tenant downstairs had taken a broom and poked it all through. So they were complaining about that, which I had just discovered. It was all painted underneath there. The rotting wasn't as apparent from underneath as it was above. So they knocked all that stuff down. Then they start complaining. They're going to call the building department on me. So I told them if you got $5,000, I'd tear it down today, but I'm going to have to wait till I can do it, which I did last summer. So when I called out the tenant that was living down here that she may be connected to Sheriff Caruana, then everything changed. And they started getting nervous, and I don't know. I guess I figured that as long as they're willing to do it, I'm willing to call them out. And that's not the only thing I know about Sheriff Caruana. He used to work at the security at the airport. So I don't know if he's had any police experience, but he's a total political plant. And like I say, when I pointed out the connection between this tenant downstairs here and him, things kind of changed. Because when you start naming names, they get nervous. See, it's okay when they can come over here and sabotage you and damage you. You call the police, they say, we know we can't do anything. Or it goes up to the supervisor, and the supervisor never calls you back. So 3 days later, after this woman downstairs and the neighbor confronted me and accused me of being a slumlord and all this kind of stuff, said that they could smell the people upstairs smoking weed. That's a pretty good nose, boy. That's a damn good nose. She must have had her nose dangling over the railing there to get to it. So 3 days after they confronted me out here, the woman downstairs here moves out as if she already had a house all ready to go, which is exactly what she had. So after she moved out, within those 3 days, may have been the next day, it was so quick. By October 31st, this was like 2015, and by October 31st, I had 3 windows broken here, 3 windows broken, and they stole my ladder from the garage, and these people over here left 2 severed mannequin heads in the garage that hadn't been torn down yet. How do I know that? Well, because the neighborhood watch guy named Toby came over here like it was a big joke and said, I came to get the mannequin heads. And I'm like, yeah, how'd you know about that? He says, I dropped those off over at the neighbor's house here, and I guess apparently they're good friends. And he dropped them off, and they must have mistakenly thought they were from you. Well, why would I do that, you know? Yeah, that's the way people act that are part of the mob and are part of organized crime for the city of Rockford and whatnot, but I don't do that kind of thing. So he says, well, here, let me just pick those up. I said, I'd rather you leave them because I want to get a picture of them yet. So So yeah, this was some kind of mob-style intimidation factor, but isn't it odd that it's coming from the people connected to the city of Rockford? So once again, we're back to square one here of damage being done on my property, and people who are connected, as I've already stated, next door here, and former tenants down here who were connected to the top political people in Rockford. So wake up, guys. You're living in a criminal enterprise here in Rockford, with all the buildings being burned down and no resolve as to who did them. You need to start asking the question of how is it that we pay these people exorbitant pensions and salaries, and yet they don't do their job. Same thing goes here. I can complain to the police department all day long, and they're not going to do anything because it's all political, and it gets shut down at the top levels because they're not going to investigate their people. Okay, well, I'm signing out.